edition of Superhero Roundup Live here on SourceFedNERD. I am Matt Lieberman. Joining me on the couch, Mr. Sam Basher, Mr. DJ Wooldridge.
That's me.
And our very special guest, Mr. Jason Inman from DC.
Clap for myself.
Yay! Thanks for coming back. Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
How you
Happy
doing?
to have you.
I'm enjoying all the crossover craziness that's happening. We got it in the movies, we got it in the TV shows, and guys, I want to announce this right here. This is exclusive.
Yes.
To hear. Don't know if you heard. Ambush Bug coming to CW in the fall.
Whoa!
Ambush Bug.
Oh my God.
Get ready.
So we've got so much TV to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to be talking about all of our favorite shows: Smallville, Generation X, Mantis, The Flash.
Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Welcome to Superhero.
Don't forget Nightman.
Don't forget Nightman. Of course, we got to talk about Nightman. No, obviously, we're going to be talking about the Supergirl and Flash crossover. We're going to be talking about an amazing episode of The Flash. We're going to be talking about Arrow. We're going to be talking about Legends of Tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Real quick. Just a quick mention. Just a quick mention. Just a little.
It's me.
No, just a little kiss.
It's me.
Yeah. No news for today because we've got so much to talk about, too many shows. But just real quick, Jason, since we all talked about Batman v Superman last week, since you're a DC guy, we wanted to know what your thoughts on the movie were, real quick.
No pressure.
I would give the movie a B.
Okay.
I like Man of Steel better.
I do too.
Interesting.
I do. I think Man of Steel was but I'm more of a Superman guy. This is more of a Batman movie, so maybe you're right. Reason. There are moments in that movie that, as a DC fan, I cannot believe we saw in that movie. Like Wonder Woman, fantastic, and then there are other moments where I was
that you
like,
also can't believe you saw, but for other reasons.
but for other reasons. Well put. Well put.
It's funny because I also am a Superman guy, and I thought this was a better Superman movie than Man of Steel.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
There you go.
DJ is strange.
That is definitely true.
So every week we have a question of the day, and that question, of course, is what did you think about the Supergirl and Flash crossover? What was the thing that you loved the most? Be sure to tweet it at us using the hashtag #SHRoundup. Sam will be reading your tweets.
Right here.
You can also watch us live every single Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on SourceFedNERD on YouTube, youtube.com/SourceFedNERD. We can see you in the chat. We can chat with you. And if you haven't checked us out on iTunes, go rate and review the show. It really helps us out. It's how people find us and keep the audience growing, keep our community growing, because we love watching these shows with you. Let's jump in. We're going to quickly give a little kiss to Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to kick off this episode.
Oh, Coulson.
Yeah.
Oh, you're adorable.
Now, personally, I really like this episode for a wide variety of reasons. Not just because I love Gaius Charles, who guest starred as Mac's brother, but I was a little concerned after last week because Bobby and Hunter were our favorite characters on the show, and it's like, are we really going to feel that void? And I thought that this episode was really strong, not just because they, for the first time, led the movies instead of the movies leading the show. Like, they established that the world is growing more anti-alien, anti-superhero before Civil War actually came out, which I appreciate because I'm like, I hate how it's always one way. The movies are always, more important than the shows, but now the shows can inform the movies, sort of.
Yeah.
But also, like, really focusing on growing the characters that we have in ways that didn't feel forced. Like, I love that we got to know Mac a little bit better and really start to round him out and see where he came from. I like that we got to pair Lincoln with Coulson and kind of see a little bit more of his character. I liked seeing a dark side to Daisy and seeing how that shakes out, and also looping in our Lash storyline, which I completely forgot about, honestly.
I think everybody forgot about that. I love that too because it made Gemma way more understand. I mean, I just like when they build out their characters, especially like if we're losing two powerhouse characters that were fantastic and made the show watchable. But now you're building up Mac and Lincoln, and Lincoln's rough. But right now he's like making sense.
So do you think Most Wanted will be more watchable than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yes.
Oh,
definitely.
Okay.
For sure. Because Bobby and Hunter have a great like rapport, and now you just got to put them on little spy adventures. Less superhero, a little bit more spy. That's what DJ wants, right?
Oh, yeah, I tend to like the spy stuff. This episode was a little more spy centric. They also got their own little version of a home invasion movie.
Yeah.
With the watchdogs at the end in the house. And they also did. I want to like Mac more than I like Mac. I find him kind of useless on the show.
A little bit.
And this was a great episode for Mac. Like, he was so compelling with his brother. You got a little bit more of his backstory. It was a very good Mac episode, a better episode for Lincoln. I was not as big a fan of Daisy using her, I guess, not really torturing people. I don't know.
It's kind of just intimidation.
The intimidation, but it was cool. The effect of her blowing out the windows was cool. And also Bosch came back from his Amazon show.
Everyone,
Blake, tight as
back off
well.
on the tight as well over.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
He's great.
We haven't. Have we? Has he? Forgive me.
He was on season 1 of the show.
Yeah,
he
because he
was.
was also in that Marvel short. I remember.
Yes,
Right.
That was
Yeah.
kind of like the faux pilot for the show. Yeah.
It really didn't make sense. Everyone was like teasing like a season 1 return of your favorite character, and it was it's the one agent that got killed.
It's kind of cool how they use those characters though, because there was also Sitwell who was in that as well, who was in Winter Soldier.
Hydra.
Killed.
I have a
Spoilers.
question for the panel. I want to
Sure.
know. Do you think we will see anybody from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in Civil War?
No.
Oh my god, half the audience would be like freaking out a little bit, and the other one would not care even a little bit.
I kind of feel Coulson needs to be there because I felt it was a big hole in Winter Soldier that Coulson wasn't in that movie.
I agree.
This is not beneficial in any way because it's retroactively changing things. I wish Coulson had been a robot created by Tony Stark, and then they could have tied him into Avengers Age of Ultron pretty seamlessly.
Right.
Like he
Like,
gets
this is
like
another-
taken over.
This is another thing Tony did that he didn't tell us about. Isn't that screwed up?
There you go.
But would you guys think we'll see him in Infinity War? Because I get the feeling we're going to see somebody from every show in Infinity
You'll
War.
get Quake. You'll get Quake.
Maybe Quake
Yeah, I
or
think you're
Coulson.
right.
Quake. That's about as much as you're gonna get.
If he builds up a cool team of Secret Warriors, we'll see Coulson reintroduced, and they'll be like, "Coulson, you're alive? Yep. Here's this," and then we'll just get a cool shot of all of them firing beams of some kind.
He'll get that.
Firing power
Yeah.
at whatever we're fighting.
Whatever bugs Thanos.
So
Thanos.
basically, he'll get
damn
that Nick Fury moment from Secret Invasion, where like, "Oh, you're alive? Oh, you've got a team?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That'd be cool."
and they're going to be in this
Gotcha.
one shot. Take a look.
Yeah.
Fire power.
You know what's weird? I'd be into it.
Right?
I'd totally
Why
be
not?
down.
Make you
happy.
I'd totally be down.
Go
Yeah.
crazy with it.
And we got a shotgun axe.
Yeah.
Kinda
Yeah,
very
finally,
impractical.
and then you realize how stupid that is.
Yeah,
because
like
you
as soon as
shoot
you
the axe
fire,
off.
yeah, exactly. Or if you hit him, it was just one round of duct tape,
Yeah.
so that just comes off in the dude's neck. But hey,
But the way he delivered it, though, is just the most common thing in the world. Like, shotgun axe.
Duh.
Why
Yeah,
didn't
I
I
liked
think of it
everything in this
before?
episode except for the brother just randomly stumbling upon their secret mission, like just rolling around the motorcycle. Oh, hey, you guys! Oh, what you doing?
it's like
That is a cliche of every superhero story.
Just
though.
walking around.
he's like, no, I was following you. He's like, we've been here for like 30 minutes. How long did it take you to get here? But good episode.
Coincidence. Yeah. Fun. Out of 10?
I give it a 8.9. There you go.
Yeah. I would give it like an 8.8, 8.9.
Wow, I am going to look much less in comparison, even though I really liked the episode. I'm going to say an 8.
Yeah, that's fair.
How
But
dare
I
you.
really liked it.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Let's move on to The Flash,
Yay!
which had an incredibly strong installment this week. I know, Sam, you were crazy in love with this episode.
You had Flash. Sorry, let me write down. I wrote in all caps when we were
Yeah,
doing a
let's
quick review. I wrote, fucking stellar episode, time travel, Flash versus Flash, Black Flasher, something I don't know. And also, I love Harrison Wells as Eobard. When he,
Yes,
when
man.
Other Barry shows up and you're like, shit's hitting the fan with time travel. And he's like, shut up, stop asking questions. Nobody talk, just let me figure it out. And like, cause it's like, and I miss that character. I have now like Harry, but I miss evil,
I do too, man.
maniacal
I miss him.
Eobard. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like I was telling DJ before he saw it, and it was kind of a joke, but not really, that it felt the most like a season 1 episode out of any episode so far this season. Not just because it was in season 1, but just like I didn't realize what a level of gravitas Harrison Wells as Eobard lent season 1 until we got it again.
The mystery of that's the underlying foundation. There's a mystery.
Exactly.
Yeah, even in this episode, because the whole time you're wondering when does he figure out?
Yes.
Because especially when the time wraith shows up and there's a shot of Harrison Wells' face, and you're like, he figured it out. He knows what's going on.
Shit, he figured it out.
I like how Barry screwed up everything immediately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like within a second, like the comms messing up and old Flash looks at current Flash and it's like, you're done. You just should go back now. You're done.
Hey, to me, it's not. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, there's one lesson that Barry has yet to learn on the show in 2 seasons is that anytime the plan is, I can lie, it never works.
It never, ever works.
Barry Allen is a terrible actor.
Here's the thing. I think Barry assumes that everybody else is as gullible as he is.
Yes, that's probably right.
When
He
that
falls for everything.
when that shapeshifter guy came in, it was like, I'm Eddie, and I was just let out of prison.
Right.
Oh,
sure,
yeah, sure.
That was
And so Barry's Barry's like, oh, everybody will just fall for this bit.
No, shockingly, not everyone's an idiot.
Yeah.
Just shockingly.
So you guys are of the opinion that the time wraith was Black Flash.
A lot of people are.
I
yeah.
even agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Can you explain for people who don't know what Black Flash is? What is Black Flash?
He is the angel of death, basically, for speedsters. He
Okay.
goes after all speedsters. When it's near their time of death, he appears to them, and then they die. That's how it works. And like,
Wow.
there's a great Wally West comic where like he outruns them,
And
it's
he
really
and he
cool.
basically has he basically wears what Zoom is wearing in season 2, a black Flash costume. And if you notice in the time rates, every
Yeah.
time it came close to the camera, they were wearing like a Flash costume.
Yeah, it looked similar
it
to
looked
the
like
Flash
kind of
costume,
ragged. There was
yeah.
like one close-up shot that like it was kind of hard to see, and I'm like, I'm assuming this close-up. I'm assuming I'm not crazy, and I do see the costume. Or otherwise, why are we doing this close-up
Yeah.
shot? I kind of like this better as a concept better than Black Flash because why do speedsters have an angel of death?
It's Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison, there you go.
Is Black Flash a Grant Morrison creation?
Yes.
Then never mind. It's great. I love it. It's perfect.
We know how to make DJ
You're
happy.
a DC fanboy.
No, I'm a Grant Morrison fanboy. New X-Men.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Just go Grant Morrison.
New X-Men. Grant Morrison created Phantom X, which is one of my favorite Marvel characters
I got a
ever.
parking
And,
ticket, but you got it from
Negasonic,
Officer Grant
Teenage
Morrison.
Warhead
I
from
love this
Deadpool.
part.
Yeah. It was one of the best parts of Deadpool.
Grant Morrison actually made the first half of Batman v Superman.
There
Make you
you
feel better.
go. Here's the one thing that I thought this episode was a lot of fun. I do think the logic of going back and talking was a little nebulous.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like look for his journal
Like,
or go
why-
to the time vault.
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
something.
like why
talk to him?
why did any like here he was the only one that was like, no, this is the dumbest idea. Everybody should have been like, no, Barry, you're being dumb. Why would you go do that? But I was bummed that there was zero negative consequences for him
100%.
screwing up everything.
100%.
That we know of.
That we know of.
That we
Yeah.
know
Right.
of.
Because that's one thing these shows do a good job of, like, oh man, I can't believe there were no consequences for Roy killing that cop ever, and then a season later it matters. But it was one of those that, like, so it just made it. You screw up everything.
Well,
You
that's
messed up
that's what,
everything.
that's what I hope that they don't drop the ball on. I hope in future episodes we see, because I want to see some more differences than Pied Piper being a good guy. Because one, Pied Piper being a good guy, that's a tie back to the Mark Waid, Wally West run of the Flash. Awesome, but I want to see that there's something else out there that changed now, because they're changing that one thing. All the ripple effects through a year. Oh my, that's a lot.
Because he found out he could time travel before he actually found out he could time travel. Like, how crazy would it have been if he came back and evil Harrison Wells is still there?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Or-
man.
Also
they
imagine.
established that though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, imagine a different scene from season 1 in the season finale when they all find out that Harrison Wells is Eobard Thawne. Why wouldn't Cisco and all them immediately turn to Barry and be like, "Why did you not tell us?
Yeah.
You knew."
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's got to be bigger ramifications, but the problem with that is when you have an ongoing outside universe, there would be ripples there too that you wouldn't be able to explain.
No.
And at that point, that's the thing about time travel.
You kinda
It's
just
like
have
when
to
you
ignore
don't
it.
What
treat it
if
seriously,
that-
it's broken.
I guess spoilers for Legends of
Did they
Tomorrow, which
break
we'll
it?
get
Did they
to
break the
sooner.
show?
But how crazy would it have been if, like, Captain Cold froze off his hand and as they're talking, it just reappears? Like, oh, I guess something else in the timeline just changed.
Yeah, I guess so.
that would have
nice.
been cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna like next episode see some. Next episode is titled Flash versus Zoom, so maybe we'll get a little bit of teases of some time travel gobbledygook. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
remember
But
how
again-
Eobard still exists even though he was erased from time, and that
Well,
wasn't.
that still makes sense, and I will defend to the end that it makes
Makes
sense.
sense.
Don't worry. It
I
makes
remember
sense.
when
Wrong
you tried to
phrasing.
explain it to us.
You mean
we're
when
not
I
going to go back.
successfully explained it 100%.
But
Yeah.
also, how cool Flash from season 2 fighting Flash from season 1.
That
It's
was
awesome.
So
cool.
cool.
That
Yeah.
was cool.
So amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, but isn't there a moment of, like, why am I drugging my past self? Like, I feel like I'm doing something wrong with my
Yeah.
life.
Well, you know, to be honest with you, I'm a little surprised that why didn't Barry play it as I'm a Flash from a different world instead of saying that I'm a Flash from your timeline?
Because
they didn't know
True,
different
true,
worlds
but
existed
you could
yet.
have. You could.
they didn't do that whiteboard thing with the multiple circles that don't explain. Circle, 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 multiverse.
But Supergirl took it pretty well, so why wouldn't
Right?
Barry?
That's true.
You know?
He did understand it pretty well. Yeah, there's problems.
Yeah.
Or
why
you
did
say
he have
you're
to
from the
drug him?
future, or like whatever. I'm from the future. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. was the Flash that was on the Supergirl Flash crossover really our Flash, or was it a Flash from another world that's very similar to the one that's in the universe Prime?
They've said it's our Flash, and there will be
Don't-
something. What you wanted will happen. There will be an explanation in one of the
Their
episodes.
production schedules are off.
Okay.
And I noticed also in this episode, if you notice, when Harrison Wells, Eobard Thawne, gave him the flash drive, he said tachyons. Now, if you remember in season 1, he used that little
Right, that's
circle
why I was
plate.
like,
I think
Which
it's
Flash has. In,
Yes, I think it's the next episode or the episode after next.
all right, good,
you go.
because
Yeah.
it just didn't make any goddamn sense, and I really, no, it just legitimately, when he was screaming and whatever last week, I wanted it to be that he was just running, and then he zoomed into another universe.
That's the problem with a cross network crossover.
Right. Yeah, it's hard, man.
Yep.
That is difficult, but it's still very, very enjoyable.
Yep.
What would you guys give this episode out of 10?
9.
9.
I give it an 8.5.
There you go.
I agree. Also 8.5.
I'll hedge. I'll give it an 8.8.
There we go.
Boom.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Look at
Split
that.
the
We're
diff.
equal.
Yeah. Any other bits from the episode you want to chat about real quick?
Loved
was
it.
Real fun.
Ready for next week's episode.
Oh, it's not next week. They're actually going on hiatus for a couple
There
weeks.
you go. Yep.
Yeah.
CW hiatus.
You only got 2 episodes. That's just a tease.
Yep.
It's not as bad as Last Man on Earth, where it's like we've been gone for months, but here's 2 episodes and we're gone again.
All right. Let's talk about Arrow.
Bees. Sorry. Did you know there were
I
bees in
can't
this episode?
believe it.
What?
Did you remember the
You should
cloud
be
of bees?
gone for that.
Yeah, exactly. Where's Maud? Where's Maud for this episode with the
Right?
puns?
It's right up her alley. I wish I had a better. I better behive myself.
I think we now just discovered why that happened in this episode, because it's addictive.
I think we can all say that Arrow has been better.
Oh,
And honestly, watching this episode stung
Yes.
quite a bit.
To break up the puns,
Quite a beat.
my opinion, I think we were just talking about a little bit before. I think I'm a little different than the rest of you guys, because I think the majority of us are like, wow, this could have been better. Like you
Yes,
said.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. But simultaneously, while one part of this episode I really did not like at all, some of it I thought was the best Arrow we've gotten this season. Like with Curtis in the Arrow cave.
He was
very
fun.
like Felicity season 1, which
Speaking
was
of the
cool.
cliche of people stumbling upon the superheroes.
Yeah,
But it's like-
Lance.
that was
This was a really good Lance episode. This was the best Laurel episode we may have ever gotten. Basically, doing the Diggle role of like, "Hey, let me give you a pep talk." Be bad guy. I'm going to call him Beekeeper. I want to try and get you guys on board with
Oh, the
Beekeepers.
forming of the
I'm-
nano
Yeah,
bees.
he
Okay.
looked
ambivalent
really
enough
cool.
that I
the
don't
Megatron of bees.
Yeah,
The
he
leather-
looked
the
really
leatherhead of
cool.
bees.
Yeah.
Leather, you mean Yellow Jacket?
Yeah.
You mean Yellow Jacket from Marvel's Ant-Man?
He
Yellow
looked,
Jacket?
he looked cool.
He looked like Yellow Jacket.
So that stuff,
Didn't mean
that
doesn't
stuff,
look cool.
that stuff I will defend, and I really liked. The bee puns were driving me insane. I wish,
Yes.
it made me wish I was
They were driving
Punisher in
bee
Daredevil with the
insane.
drill going through his foot.
Can you go ahead and push real hard? Just go ahead and I'll swirl around. God, the bees.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Curtis, and I enjoyed Bee-Man, Beekeeper.
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 It's catching on Beekeeper.
I am good with her never coming back.
Sure.
That's fine. Arrow's gotten a little weird, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason, thoughts?
Oh man, this is one of the hardest episodes of. I felt like I was stuck in honey. Watching this episode, just there were some moments that I felt like this episode was shopped out to the Sci-Fi Channel because Oliver saw the bees for the first time, and what does he do? He shoots an arrow at it, and you're like, that don't work.
That's dumb.
No. But I agree with you. Curtis was great in this episode.
Yeah.
Lance had a lot of great moments, especially like, robotic bees is my life. What's going on?
Yeah, and also like I also
come
watch
on.
movies
Hey,
like
Captain Lance.
Yeah, the bees. Yeah, and then the Damien Dark stuff that was, I think, the stuff that bothered me the most, because he has been such a great character in the beginning of the season that they kind of feel that since the mid-season break, they kind of haven't figured out what to do with him ever since Vixen kicked his butt.
Yeah.
And in this
Because it's like,
yeah,
once you kick his butt, what's left?
that's the season.
Right, because
He
he's
comes
supposed to
back
be
more
unstoppable.
vengeful.
Yeah, he's supposed
Yeah.
to be unstoppable, and we stopped him halfway in the season.
Right.
But
So-
him teaming up with Murmur was cool, and Murmur's still a cool visual.
Yeah, Murmur was an interesting part.
I liked when he was in
I
his
don't know.
speech. Like I had this whole speech plan, and you guys already died.
Yeah,
That
well,
was
that's
fun.
Neil McDonough, man. He can chew the scenery like nobody's
He's
business.
wonderful.
You know.
Here, do you want to read a tweet first?
It's a bee pun. Luke Holmes at Fake Luke JH wrote, would you say that Curtis was a bit bumbling?
That's pretty good. I wish there was more.
Pretty
I wish there were more B puns, like as opposed to just putting B in words.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would have been better. Biatch was the worst. Biatch was the worst.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm getting cold sweats from thinking of all the puns. I feel sick.
here's where I'm at with Arrow as a show.
As a show.
One more pun. Just the cross pollination between Flash and Arrow has ultimately ruined Arrow, potentially forever.
Ruined is a strong word.
Ruined is a
I
very
agree.
strong
I agree. It's a
word.
very strong
I
word.
stand by my strong word.
Okay.
This is a lot of
Because
strong words.
because look, Flash is a much lighter show than Arrow, and for the two to coexist on their crossover episodes, you had to lighten Arrow's elements to make to allow Flash to work, kind of. And it's enjoyable in those crossovers because tonally they make sense. But when Arrow is just Arrow, and it's got this like lighter, campier tone, it doesn't quite have the urgency that made season 1 and season 2 work.
Yeah.
Season 1 was about a man wrestling with extreme demons while trying to stop a massive plot that was going to kill thousands and thousands of people while straight up murdering people and trying to regain some of his humanity. Season 2, we had a lot of urgency because we had a very personal vendetta of Deathstroke against him.
Yeah.
You know, real casualties.
Still the best season of the show.
Like,
Season two.
it's
Oh, yeah. Easily.
excellent. But now it's lost its focus to the point that I don't know why the show still exists, other than to just make more episodes. And this episode
That's why
is
most TV exists.
It's all about money.
that's my point. In this age of like streaming and cable and shorter episode runs of shows, every show, when there's so many TV shows, you need a reason to exist. Otherwise, you shouldn't. You should end the show and put something else on that has more urgency. And for me, the show needs to set an end game, or it needs a massive retooling. And killing off one character just isn't going to change enough of
What if
the
you
status
kill
quo.
off 3?
They do. Well, here's the thing. They do set up a genetic
up the
makeup.
number.
Which I don't think the show is ruined, and you will never hear me argue that a show would not benefit from having an end game and like a setup story, because that's how stories have a beginning, a middle, end. That it will not happen. The show will go on for 10 seasons, just like Supernatural and
It will.
Smallville and all that.
We'll have 10 seasons of Arrow, 10 seasons of Flash.
Yeah, but
I'll watch all of it.
you do have the
mean,
genetic makeup for what could be a complete new Team Arrow next season if you have Curtis replace Felicity, which I think might be for the best. I love it.
I agree.
One of my favorite
I
parts
agree.
was Felicity was like, I can do good at Palmer.
Yeah.
It's like, good, get out of this romance thing that's
Save
kind of like,
yourself.
so you could have Curtis there. You could have, even though it looks like they're setting him up to be a bad guy, Andy Diggle replacing Brother Diggle.
What was that
John
reveal?
Diggle.
What was that weird ass reveal at
Well,
the end of the
is
episode?
that Damien Dark has an inside man in Team Arrow?
Yeah.
When did we accept
Possibly.
that
Which
he
for
was a
me was
good
little-
guy? I thought that we always knew he was bad.
No, we kind of
Remember he played cards
I
with
don't know.
him.
I kind of hoped that we were done with him.
I thought he was
And
gone.
then he was going to show up in season 5. But I agree with you. Arrow is not ruined. But I think you did, Matt. You hit it on the head with what the show is missing. The first 2 seasons of Arrow were all based around him. If you want to boil it down, fighting a feeling, a theme, or an emotion. Season 1, living up to Dad. Season 2, I betrayed my best friend.
Yes.
Tommy and Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Both at the same time. And in season 3, we lost it completely.
Right. Season 4, the
They
theme.
started great.
Yeah,
At the
with
beginning of the season
theme
is
of
good.
can we have it all?
Can we have it all? Yeah. And the first, I would say, 7 episodes of the season were strong. I kind of wonder, I agree with you, Flash did hurt Arrow a little bit because then they had to have them fighting people with superpowers.
Right.
And I kind of think that Legends hurt Arrow a little bit because I think some of the people left Arrow to go work on Legends, and that hurt Arrow for the worst. I think
Oh, you
Arrow,
mean like writers?
yeah, writers or producers or whatever. I don't know specifically, but like I think Arrow can come back if they base the entire season around a theme, because especially the next season, since we're going to see his last year on the island,
Yeah.
if they make next season all about this full circleness,
Yeah.
like about somehow tying it really strongly into what was his final year on the island, what's his final year or beginning year of Green Arrow, boom.
Well, that's what's interesting, is if he takes that step and kills Damien Dark at the end of this season and becomes the murderer again, and makes the decision that he can't have it all, that he can't be the hero and be the lover and all of this, and he is doomed to the mission. Season 5 has the urgency again.
Well, you could and
Yeah,
you could
but
have a
it's-
whole season where Flash is against him.
True.
I would also
Flash could maybe take him down
Or
really
even
fast.
Team Arrow. Team Arrow
True.
even is against.
Yes.
I'd also I'm hoping, since again you're talking about the last year on the island, even though we know it's going to go beyond past that most likely.
Yes.
I would like to see Slade come back for season 5.
Or at least his son, who has been mentioned and seen in Legends.
Or Jericho and Rose.
Yeah.
Would also be cool.
That'd be cool. Last little thing for Arrow, just for thoughts. Carrie Wilson on Twitter writes, I wish Banshee's scream effect could be used as Black Canaries on Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Way
I
cooler.
did not find it that much more impressive. They just blew air in her hair.
But
as
if
she
there
did
was
the
But you
scream.
got to see the sound wave.
Yeah,
Visual
maybe.
and cool.
You know, when you
And
see
it's
the sound
somebody
wave-
just standing there with the mouth open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. I do
looked
want.
better doing
I'm
it.
gonna drop this seed because it's something I thought through all of our shows in hopes that maybe it can spur discussion as we go on. All the shows we watched this week were pretty much like amped up the fun. Like, we're going straight for fun. And I heard there was a lot of like discussion about like, wow, isn't this so much better than Batman v Superman? Counter-programming for Batman v Superman. This is what we want. And it's one of those. These were all solid episodes, but
It's not all.
with a lot of these fun episodes, they were also kind of devoid of any stakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's one of those that like so I don't
Bees,
know
though.
I don't know if fun I don't know if fun is like immediately better. Don't get me wrong, Batman v Superman could have had and not just jokes, but more fun
Yeah,
in general.
yeah, totally.
And I don't necessarily think that something a superhero show like Daredevil was the season 2 was very solid. I would say if you ever have ninjas climbing upside a building, that equals fun to me.
Yeah.
But was also dark and moody. I think you can have both. I'm just wondering what you guys think. Is fun just inherently better than serious? Were these just inherently better because they were more fun than Batman v Superman, or maybe they were structured a little bit
But
better?
it wasn't that this was fun. It was silly
It was
and
camp.
poorly
Yeah.
constructed.
I'm not necessarily
too.
talking about Arrow, but also we'll get into it. Flash v Supergirl, Flash this week. They were fun over pretty much anything else.
Right. Well,
fun above all else.
I think this episode of Flash represents what I think of fun in a superhero property, where we're exploring a cool idea in a compelling way that does have stakes. Where
but it didn't
things can't
because
have-
nothing he did changed anything.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we don't know that.
But you can't. Let's
Just,
take out.
just
you
talking
can't-
about the piece.
Yeah, you can't make a judgment just off this episode. What we saw in this episode.
That's why the episode ultimately fails for me.
Yeah.
Is because there are no consequences
for Arrow or for Flash.
Flash.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that is the type of fun that I have. Like watching a show like Banshee, which comes back tonight, and it's an incredible show, is incredibly fun because it's ludicrously violent. The characters, are really well painted. The characters are really well painted. Like the action is just insane, like over the top insane, but the story is grounded. Like the ideas that the show has will always be smart and interesting, but the way that they execute it is not only professional but mind-blowing.
What about
and
you
memorable.
guys? What do you guys think about it? The whole fun versus serious, light versus dark.
Yes.
I think it's better when it's equal parts.
Yeah.
Because I don't want too much fun and I don't want too much serious. I think it's best when it's like some episodes in season 1 of Arrow and season 2 of Arrow had the perfect balance. They probably lean more towards the serious side, and I would say Flash is the opposite. They probably lean more towards the fun side. But I mean, you're talking about Supergirl and Flash. Them in a scene together was so fun, so awesome. But their villains were so silly that the rest of it had no stakes and didn't matter.
And also, I would say like my immediate go-to for like best Flash episode was probably season 1 finale. And that was fun. It was energetic. It had spectacle, but it also had crazy high stakes.
Yeah, the scene with his mom, like
Those
very
were-
Intense.
My other go-to is I don't know about you guys. I've been keeping up with iZombie, and to me that show is the perfect
Way
balancing
fun.
act because it is
Yes.
crazy fun. But for it's not world-ending, but especially this week's episode, the stakes are crazy high for pretty much every character on the show.
Yeah.
And so you can have. I feel like you can have.
You can't have both.
You might lean like Batman v Superman was always going to lean more towards the serious. Of
course.
You know what I mean. But you can have a better balancing act, especially with superheroes because they're inherently they're inherently fun. Like that's why we like them.
Yeah, and to go to throw this over to the Marvel side of the debate, which everybody says Marvel is definitely the more fun. I would argue that my favorite Marvel movie is probably the most serious, and that's Winter Soldier.
Yeah, agreed.
that
Definitely
was
the
so
most
much
serious.
fun.
And
So much fun.
Yeah, and Winter Soldier of all of them is the most serious, and it has the closest thing to a theme
Yeah.
And I would say even Avengers has its darker elements, and that to me that's up there with Winter Soldier as their best movies.
That's their best work.
Regarding Arrow and going back to a more serious tone, season 1 really didn't do it for me. Season 3 was real rough to get through, but still season 1 isn't that good in my opinion. It's pretty boring. And so I don't know. It's kind of wavering, and I don't know where they're going to end up in the next 7 years that the show's going to be on, but I don't know if darker is best.
One thing that might
darker. It's just having
the balance is weird. It's
having a storyline that actively affects your characters in a way that changes them and is compelling.
Let me throw this out there. Okay. Season 1, the thing that season 1 had was it was all about that list. He was all like, I gotta kill everybody on this list. That was his goal. And Arrow has lost that since season 1. And I think Arrow needs a purpose again because Flash was season 1 all about who killed my mom. Season 2, who the hell is Zoom?
Yeah.
Arrow hasn't had that thing since season 1. And I think it needs that thing again.
I wonder another thing that you might be touching on is also season 1 and season 2 are the last times that the flashbacks meant anything to the show and tied into anything.
Oh, the past 2 episodes they've just been stuck in the cave going in circles around.
Yeah, and we have no idea how it ties
it's like Dragon Ball Z level plotting where it's just we're charging a fucking beam for half an hour.
The last time I would say the flashbacks had any relevance was the Constantine episode because that's how we found out his connection to him.
Right.
And that was fun.
So hopefully in season 6 we'll be done with the flashbacks and then we'll
I want flash forwards, damn it.
A friend of mine said flash forwards.
Well, especially now with Connor Hawk.
Well, I would say go to that timeline. Show us crazy future
I would
one-arm
be so
Arnold.
That would be damn cool.
Sorry, I was going to say we get flash forwards and flash sideways, and then everybody's in heaven. Spoilers.
Spoilers for a show that we won't say.
So the Cinema Kid in the chat wrote something that I'm 90% sure won't be the case, but connecting it back to just sort of like what we thought the themes of season 5 could be, he said, what if Felicity is still in the grave and the limo Felicity is a mind hallucination and just basically losing Felicity makes him snap and he's just fucking crazy Ollie at that point? I'm kind of down.
That would make there be stakes. That would make him want to kill again.
Yeah. Murder Ollie to come back.
Look, I at least want him to wrestle with the question. I want him to at least wrestle with it because it's never felt like he ever was close to being that guy again.
You just made me think of one of my favorite moments of season 2 where he was like, no kill, and then Count Vertigo was fucking and he murdered the hell out of Count Vertigo.
He shot him out a window.
Yeah.
The stakes weren't even that high for that, at all.
It'd be interesting. I actually am thinking it could be Lance. I think maybe if it was John Diggle and we had Andy Diggle replace John Diggle and then we have Laurel replace John as hey, you need to shape
and you're
up.
right. This was a great Laurel
and
episode.
then Curtis replace Felicity, and we could have a whole new Team Arrow that is a lot more volatile. If you think about that team, that's a lot more volatile.
Right, because they're all getting the fuck along, and that's boring. It is.
Yeah.
They're all fighting and having fun.
Hugo in the chat, he brought up there's pics of Laurel's name on a tombstone already. Guys, give it up. Now I don't know if you've seen these. There's pictures out there. Now.
There's also pictures of Dick Grayson's name on a gravestone.
Yeah, there's no proof. There's no proof that those pictures are real.
Yeah,
but I don't know anything. But my pick for this has always been Laurel.
Well, she's obviously the weak
because I feel her story's done.
Yeah,
right,
and that sucks.
Yeah,
because it's Black Canary. It's freaking Black Canary. Why is she done?
And guys, I don't know if this would be good for this show, but I'm a big fan of the most recent Black Canary run where she's part of a punk rock band. Is there any way we'll just throw out everything we're doing with Laurel and just bring in punk rock Black Canary? Please, can we please?
No. I mean, you know what? Anything's possible.
Please?
You know what though? That's fucking smart. You kill off Laurel at the end of Legends of Tomorrow season 1. White Canary comes back to Star City, replaces her sister. She's far more interesting.
But
that's a weird cyclical.
But would she still be more interesting now that she's kind of worked out her stuff?
I don't know, because the writing for her on Legends has been hit and miss.
You stop. She's the best part of that show.
This episode...
No, she was so good.
I mean, to me, Captain Cold's the best. Captain Cold and Victor Garber are the best parts of Legends.
Really?
Victor Garber's so much fun. Well, you can tell when they're writing episodes of Legends of Tomorrow, they write this line about Tachyon and the time stream, and they're just like, no actor can pull this off.
Oh, Victor Garber. Victor Garber. Both those guys are great. I will not take that away. But my favorite parts are continuously White Canary and Heatwave.
Oh, Heatwave's so much fun.
They're my favorite parts every time we get on that show.
We all knew, even though we all knew it was coming. Spoilers. Legends of Tomorrow talk. we all knew Heatwave was Kronos. Come on,
That was my guess.
Right?
Most people,
right?
yeah.
I think it's awesome that he was the Kronos the entire time through the
Right.
season.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, are we moving? Before we move,
Sorry.
just really quickly, can we get a number grade for this week's Arrow?
Yeah, give it a 7.
Well, for Arrow,
I'll give it a 7.
I would give it a 4.
Oh wow!
I'm giving it a
B-Man didn't
7.5.
save it.
I told you guys there were parts of this episode that I thought were some of the best this season. So even
All right.
though some were the worst, so 7.5.
You ready for my number?
Yeah.
-2.
Yay!
B-Man didn't save it when they made all the
Beekeeper. Beekeeper. We've all decided. Beekeeper.
No, he decided B-Man is great.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about Legends. So personally, I didn't know that Kronos was Heatwave until he took Snart, and then as soon as he took Snart, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that has to be why, and he has to be Heatwave. But I thought that this was an episode with a lot of cool ideas that should have been 2 different episodes. I feel like many of us may be on the same page that the idea of having a slow episode where we just deal with these characters being stuck in 1958 for a full hour would have been far more satisfying than what we got.
Yes.
But then as you say that, I realized a CW superhero show would never do that.
Exactly.
And so my counter thought is you don't show it at all. You just stay with Rip Hunter's team and they're like, oh no, we're falling through time. Oh good, we're going back to save them. And then you realize you're however many years, basically the first episode of Matt Smith's Doctor Who.
Got it.
Where he comes back and you're like, oh, and maybe even have Ray have a beard. And it's real like, where did Sarah go? Because either more time to establish why Sarah left, or you just find out that she left in the 2-year time frame.
I like that too.
I actually think it should have been more time. I think it should have been 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I think
would've been intense.
I think both
Like
of
they give up hope
To make it
Yes.
more of a struggle to like decide whether or not to leave.
Yes.
Like that's the one thing that disappointed me. Like I was disappointed that Hawkgirl was happy that they were there. I wanted them to really be settled in that life.
Or
Someone
maybe-
brought up really quick. Someone brought up an interesting point. Now that she has her past lives back and everything, that like she's gone through plenty of things and plenty of changes and plenty of big life revelation. So her all of a sudden being able to go back and like forgetting a life that she already had isn't that big of a deal.
But look,
for
she
her
was just a
character.
librarian a couple days ago.
yeah.
But I think it might have been more. I think I would have been more compelled if since we're probably not going to get a slow the whole time jump thing. We just with Rip Crew, they get back like, oh man, it's been 5 years, and Ray's alone, and Kendra went with Sarah to train in Nanda Parbat.
Oh man, it'd be so cool if she could fight.
And
it would be so cool.
because it would have been.
And he's just like crippled with loneliness.
And
He's
he's gone crazy because he's spent 5 years trying to build a time machine and been unsuccessful.
And how much more interesting would that make Ray?
Yeah. And Kendra, because she's off becoming a badass over in Nanda Parbat.
Well, yeah, because think about that. Like, this is an interesting thing that this show, especially a time travel show, has that you could reboot and change your characters like it's a season finale in the middle of your season.
Well, and I like that even though they didn't go to the extent that we wanted, they kind of did that. Like the fact that I think was the best use of the time travel conceit of the show.
Yeah.
Even though you still have some of the wobbly, like, why couldn't you just go back and get us down? Oh, we can't interfere with the timeline we were part of, except apparently if you're Heat Wave.
Right.
I also got to give
yourself.
major props to this episode for finally showing us what somebody's quarters on that ship looks like.
Yeah,
First
well,
time we saw
bedroom.
his quarters.
Sleeping, yeah.
It's kind of like the prison cells in the Flash. Like, where do they poo?
Where are they? Where's the
So
bathroom?
we got a couple of comments here that I want to read. Raven R says, Legends of Tomorrow needs to stop being sloppy with the writing. Some of it's smart, but they need to learn pacing and when and where to make things either into separate episodes or when to actually condense them.
I think
Fair
this
point.
of the show. I think
My favorite's the other comment.
Yeah, I
all
know
of
what
our,
you're reading.
I think all of our CW shows are a little messy at times. I actually think Legends of Tomorrow is the most consistent of them right now.
I would say it's the most consistently entertaining.
Yes.
Oh, it's- it's
Entertaining and
fun.
surprising.
That fight at the end.
Midkick218 says, do not drag Sarah back to that trash show.
And like that's exactly what I imagined. They're like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
No, you're going back to Star City.
You're going.
You're going. Yeah, you're going.
But you talk about our favorite characters, like a lot. Victor Garber didn't get a lot to do this episode, but Heatwave is no longer the chaotic evil that he was. Like I'm going to go back and I'm going to make you watch me kill your sister over and over and over again.
Yeah, I have a tweet really quick from Sage Holst that says, while it was obvious Rory was Kronos, the reveal was great, and saying he'll kill his sis over and over, chilling.
Yeah.
And then
Well, that's the-
Snart freezing off his own
that-
hand, which
by the way,
I wish they'd stuck to.
That I wish he had lost his hand forever, or at least he didn't get back till the end of the season.
Yeah.
But that moment where he froze his hand to break out, for me,
Yeah.
best Captain Cold moment in all media.
Yeah.
Even better than the moment. Some of the
Wow.
moments. I was so impressed by that moment.
That was so
was-
and
it
they've
was
done
so
such
good.
cool things with his
Yeah.
character and their relation, his dynamic with Rory. And then
It's some of Wentworth Miller's best work in his career.
Indeed.
And for me, being a Sarah fan, like I like when you go to Nana Parbat and you're seeing all the faceless ninjas, and one is just really killing, and you're like, that's Sarah.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the best action performers in the whole Arrowverse.
Really quick, just
Agreed.
not
Yeah.
to be a stickler.
Any action she's in is immediately better because she's in it.
But why didn't Cole just grab the gun and shoot the pole that was holding his
Because
handcuffs?
he couldn't get it like that.
If he used his own feet to
He's-
shoot the gun.
he's
Why didn't he?
standing
Time
with
travel does things to your brain.
Yeah, there you go.
It makes you forget past lives.
He didn't have to go through the excruciating pain of breaking your own hand off until it's splintering into pieces.
Right.
All he had to do is
Which
pick it
would
up.
hurt.
Which
Oh my god.
But that Heatwave Kronos reveal is like the perfect example of something where like it doesn't always have to be a huge shock for
Yeah.
it to be great. Like you can see
It's
something
scary.
coming and still have it be very effective because of execution.
It worked.
Yeah.
The heat wave is Kronos totally worked, and it also to me explained because when Kronos kept finding them and they would just like do an offhand line, they're like, "Oh, Kronos found us again." I immediately was like, "Okay, Kronos is one of them. So
Yeah.
one of them are going to become Kronos."
Really?
And it immediately
Yeah.
makes Kronos more interesting.
More interesting.
Because his stakes are way more personal now. And then he gets the best fight scene he's had in the show. That
Yeah.
final fight was great.
Was great
For
And-
everybody, Adam, even
Yeah.
Hawk Girl doing like the spins and
Stuff and like
yeah.
giving the chokehold and shit. My favorite one was where Tiny Adam zooms around Kronos and then is big and then punches him.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
cool.
also love that they finally got let out of budget jail in this episode because it's like for weeks we've had, oh no, we can't become Firestorm. It'll
Yeah.
make something
Yeah.
go back. We can't because they blew the budget on the first 4 episodes straight.
Yes.
Listen, they even became Firestorm for no reason this episode.
Right.
When
Yeah.
you become Firestorm, boom.
We can't do it.
Whoops.
Wait, just kidding. Now we can't.
Yeah.
It's the other episode. Now we're back. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah, yeah.
here's the money.
Well, they had that. We had that bottle episode where the space pirates and stuff like that.
I
And
love
we
that
say I
episode.
like that episode a lot too
Yeah.
because to me it seemed like an episode of Star Trek.
Yes.
Yep.
which I was like great.
Star
Yeah.
Trek or Firefly
Yeah.
or whatever.
Maybe
It was
that's
classic.
why
This
this
show's
show
fun.
works so well. Is not only is it a superhero show, but in its genetics are stuff like Star Trek, Firefly, Doctor Who, some of the key sci-fi shows. And so it not only works as a superhero show, but as a really fun sci-fi show.
And that's something that I think that superhero shows should do more of is like find that sort of genre that you want to lean into. Like right now, Dan Slott does an amazing Silver Surfer run because he's basically leaned the Silver Surfer into Doctor Who territory.
Yeah, he's got a companion.
Right.
Yeah,
and
and you're
everything.
like, I guess Silver Surfer has a companion, and they're traveling through the universe, and you're like, this is great.
Oh, I have a fun tweet really quick because I
And
want to talk
got
about
a comment on people want us to talk about Talia, but
Talia. Actually, yeah, I was like, it was fun to see Raish and Natalia tease was fun.
Yeah,
But,
well, also it's just like it answers the question of like, why does he have a daughter named Nissa? Where's Talia? Well, he had a daughter named Talia, but something must have happened to her.
or
Oh,
she's
she's
older
off
now.
with
She's much
Batman.
older.
Yeah, she's a Batman.
Yeah.
But Muslim Alton, I'm a good reader. He wrote, "How awesome would it have been if Cap used the pit to heal his hand? If he stuck his hand into the pit,
Would that have worked?
cool would that have
Interesting.
been?
Would that have regenerated whole
Yeah.
hand?
Wouldn't it have given
Yeah.
him the bloodlust in his
No,
hand?
it would have only
Yeah,
gave
in
his
his-
hand the bloodlust,
Yeah.
like Evil Dead.
Like a
Yeah,
trigger
like,
finger. Yeah.
the other thing Sam and I talked about briefly is it would have been cool. Like, I guess we were going geeky, like third grader comic book reader. Like, what if you got an ice hand? But like in
I thought that
New
too.
52, he's
52.
able to generate the ice ability. So maybe he's mutate. Maybe he's always been a metahuman, and just then it manifests itself. That would have been. That's the only part of the episode I didn't like. Is like, oh, don't worry, we have a machine that'll completely fix your hand. But that was so cool that he throws it off.
Yeah, but still, lots of good stuff. The one thing that's hard is like that Adam and Hawkgirl relationship is hard to watch because they're not the strongest actors in the cast, and we haven't had enough moments with them that feel genuine for that to matter.
By the end of the season, I think we'll be a little bit more attached to their relationship.
Sure.
By the end of the episode, slightly more attached to them.
I'll be more attached when we meet another Hawkman and it actually like there's some jeopardy to it.
There
Yes.
is definitely
Which
love triangle is coming.
What's happening? Because Falk, the guy who played Hawkman, he was seen on set,
Ooh.
so he filmed something.
Yeah.
Cool.
I also like that actor as Hawkman. I know he and Kendra didn't have necessarily the best chemistry, but I like that actor as Hawkman. I'm glad to see him come back.
You guys like the Bill Gates tease?
That was
Yeah,
that
good.
was interesting.
Your dad is
I also
Bill
I
Gates.
appreciated Brandon Routh wearing Clark Kent glasses again.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So
Super.
There's a lot of
Out of 10?
I give it a little 8.9. It was a lot of fun.
I go solid 9.
Same here. Solid 9.
Oh, yeah, I'll give it an 8.5, if only because like there's more cool stuff in this episode than we actually got. Like that's the problem with this show is there's such an embarrassment of riches plot-wise and story-wise with what you can do with all the potential of it that maybe it'll never quite hit the sweet spot for me.
What about this? Scott at Superfinch_ wrote, should have replaced his hand with a cold gun.
There you go.
Just with the cold gun.
Jammed it in the
Basically,
bloody
be like,
stuff.
oh yeah, more
Into the
Evil
bloody
Dead, like you're
stuff.
talking about.
Exactly.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. All right. We're getting a lot of 8s, 8.5, 7.5, 8.7, 8.2. Everybody's kind of in that same
Yep.
range.
Show's fun.
Yeah. All right, it's time to talk about the Supergirl Flash crossover, which begs the question of the day. What'd you think of it? What was your favorite part? Let us know on Twitter using the hashtag SHRoundup. Gang, what did you think of it? Jason?
I actually loved it. I think it's my favorite episode of Supergirl this entire season. Now, it has problems.
It has issues.
The villains were not the strongest. I didn't like Silver Banshee's origin at all. I haven't liked Livewire on the show at all, even though I love Livewire in the animated series,
Right.
which is crazy. But I get when you have two heroes, you got to have two villains.
Yeah.
But I just feel the chemistry of seeing the Flash on these Supergirl sets made me be like, man, next season I want to see Supergirl on every CW show.
Yes, 100%.
On
I
Arrow,
think that
man,
Grant
that'd
and
be-
Melissa-
She can punch killing Oliver Matt Lieberman's dream in the face.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, well, it's just like the chemistry between the two of them is so good that I'm just like, I think it's lame that she winds up with James Olsen. I want to see a cross-network, cross-universe romance because they have more chemistry than
do.
any two people in any of these shows.
I like that they leaned into that curve about having Kara be Cat Grant's lighthouse using Barry.
Yeah.
Because there really was that, like, I'd like to see that in the comics now. I've
Yeah.
never seen Flash and Supergirl paired off, but like this episode totally convinced me that
100%.
it was fantastic.
Well, it's like when you're the only, good alien that you know other
Yeah.
than your cousin, and suddenly this other nice dude with superpowers who is handsome,
Yeah.
who is fun to be around, who you genuinely enjoy. Like the idea of the two of them having a romance is so fun and so much more fun than any of the romances we're
That
getting.
is a great idea because everybody else she's encountered with powers has kind of been a dick.
Yeah, it's kind of been not that great.
Man, Barry is smart on Supergirl, huh?
Isn't it
Invented
weird?
like 3 things. He invented things.
It always
Yes.
weirds me out how
Yeah.
much smarter Barry is, smarter and more fun he becomes on other
Other
people's
shows,
shows.
on other shows. Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
everyone else is excited to write for Barry.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, great, we get
Well,
Barry.
I actually think about it this way though. On his show, he's surrounded by like 5 other scientists. On other shows, just people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just other dudes. I love this was also
guys.
Wynn's best episode because I don't know who had
Yes.
better chemistry with Barry, Kara or Wynn.
They had this weird
Yeah.
shot when like they introduced Wynn to Barry and like they like looked at each other
Because
for a
they
long
look
time.
so similar.
They
They
do,
look similar.
and they're
They look
both
similar.
have a history of like musical theater. So I feel like they've done like work together in the past. But like there was a point when I was getting. I know I'm being a stickler.
Was Jeremy Jordan one of the
Was he on
warblers
Glee as well?
on Glee?
I don't know. He was
I
on
don't know.
something. He looks like he'd be on Glee.
Sure.
But
well, he was on Smash.
There you go. But the cuteness started to get a little bit annoying, and also I kind of wanted my Barry to at least win one fight. One fight, just win something.
No, because the fire department.
Right.
Yeah.
My favorite one of my favorite moments was when they first started like, what, aliens exist on your Earth? Whoa, metahumans exist on your Earth? And then Barry got them ice cream. The look on Melissa Benoist's
That
face
was so
when she
cute.
got the ice cream was so like, what?
She was like, yes.
But I think maybe we could have gotten Silver's Banshee's origin last episode when everybody else was getting an origin.
Yes.
So we could have just gone right into, hey, there's 2 bad guys.
Yep.
And just cut out the middleman. And also maybe have her. I'm glad that they said it was makeup and she wasn't supposed to, like, it wasn't supposed to be her looking like a skull.
Where did she
but
get it?
Maybe she could just be going crazy and not have Livewire
she
be
should
like,
not-
hey,
It's time for a makeover.
super villain up.
She should not have
Evil
makeup.
makeover.
Yeah.
But and the only other thing, it was so cool seeing them when they rushed in the warehouse and like Barry's trying to use his lightning thing, even
Yeah.
though that ended up making things worse. But again, I liked that the show
He
was
should
not.
stop using that, by the way. It
doesn't
only
work.
it works
Yeah.
like 20% of the time.
How was I going to phrase this? I like that the show was not derailed by Flash showing up. It was dealing with its own story about people not trusting Kara and how Flash could influence that. It wasn't like, oh, hey, forget our own themes. We'll deal with the Flash right now. The trade-off being, maybe that ending, I liked what the ending represented of the people standing up for her. It was very old school Sam Raimi Spider-Man, all 3 of them, I think. Yeah. When you have Flash, have them teaming up be what saves the day. Maybe as she's dealing
Have
with
them save one person.
and maybe
Yeah.
as the Kryptonians are taking over, maybe then the people stand up for Kara. Not here. Maybe this wasn't the time, because that ending was
No, but we can't.
thematically interesting, but
We really like that
underwhelming.
scene, but we couldn't put it in the 2-part finale because of all the cool action we have to do contractually.
Because you can't take out Kryptonians with a fire hose.
Yeah.
They took out both of them. It could have taken Livewire. Fine, maybe the fire department gets rid of Livewire and then Flash.
Yeah, wait, how did Silver
Kara-
Banshee stop doing
She was
it?
standing by Livewire.
Oh,
and
shit.
she got
Yeah.
shocked.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Can you believe it?
But again, it goes back to the idea that crazy fun episode, but zero stakes at the end of the day.
Yes, yeah,
Which
but
is
I
disappointing.
will say that I love that Cat Grant wanted to name the Flash the Blur.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and I
also-
love that she knew immediately.
Yeah.
He's like,
Immediately.
yeah, he showed up.
Well,
like,
obviously,
yeah.
Which
like,
makes
who's
it-
this guy in my office? That was the one part of the episode that bothered me. It was like, why didn't Cat Grant never get pissed off about who's this guy that's
Yeah.
suddenly
Yeah.
walking around my floor?
How would you guys feel about the CW joke? I liked it.
I
You
loved
guys-
it.
You guys
I
look
would
like
have
a cast
liked
from
it
CW.
more if there was more than one ethnically diverse person in that row of people that she called an ethnically diverse CW
It
show.
also makes me
cast.
think that Kat, the stance the show has on Kat is that she does know that Kara's Supergirl,
Yeah.
and she's letting it slide.
Oh, here.
Yes.
I like
whole,
that.
that whole episode of her trying to reestablish her identity is basically Kat going, all right, this clearly really matters to you. I'm going to let it slide.
Yeah, I'll let you.
Right.
Because obviously, otherwise, like, Kara has gone so much from her desk.
Yeah.
That they like. Here's the thing: Cat Grant is the easiest going boss ever because everybody, Jimmy, Wynn, and all of them would be fired from the amount of hours they spend at the DEO.
Yeah, right.
100%.
Oh, wait, any thoughts on Lucy Lane as the head of the DEO?
She's
I thought
cool.
it was
She's
fine. No? Okay. All right, just me.
Nah,
I thought it was
not
fine.
really.
I thought it was cool.
She's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fine. You know.
fine is a
Fine.
word.
Fine
Yeah.
is a word. It's okay.
I was
Four
very
letters.
bummed that Flash did not get to interact with Martian Manhunter.
And also,
At
why did
all.
Little
Which
bit.
is a real
Yeah.
bummer because he would have fucking flipped.
Yeah.
Supergirl didn't even say Superman's name once? Flash doesn't know the name Superman.
No, I think he did. My cousin, Superman. You don't. And he's like, who?
No,
think
no,
he was
he,
right.
he.
I'm not certain about that.
He said 4 of his superheroes. He's like Green Arrow, Black Canary, like they know that character in that world, and Firestorm and Atom, but no Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real
Also,
sad.
Casey Selby wrote, "Why would Kara just fly away and expose her secret identity to Flash literally instantly after being saved?"
She did say that her ears were ringing and she felt disoriented. I also liked when she was on her boss was on fire and Flash was like,
Yeah.
Well, like when she flew off and the clothes fell on top of him, he's like, oh.
I do wish they weren't on different networks. I wish they could interact all the time.
I want them to be
Me
in
too.
love.
One
Yep.
day, one day,
One
if
day
we're
they might
lucky
be.
enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
How would you guys want a flashover on CW to work?
With Supergirl over
You mean
on
a
the
crossover?
A crossover. Sorry, what did I say?
You said a flashover.
It would be,
which
Yeah.
says
it'd
a
be cool
lot
to,
about you.
it'd
Yeah.
be cool to have her
I have a
on.
problem.
You know how Flash and Arrow always have their wintertime
Their winter crossover, yeah.
If Supergirl got to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Just like a last. What if it was like a last second thing, like
Yeah.
a big surprise?
Yeah.
I think how you do it is I think let's go crazy town. Let's introduce the DZ character Harbinger. And let's have her somehow
crazy
interact.
town.
She brings Supergirl to Rip Hunter somehow through the multiverse, and then Rip Hunter brings her to Arrow and Flash. There you go.
You know what?
You got when you do this crossover, you got to go crazy town.
Got
I
crazy. Technically, Lila Miller, her code name is her.
I know, yeah, that's
but
right.
whatever this equivalent, because
Well,
she's
so-
clearly a very different character.
Yeah, she's way off.
But it would be interesting because the two of the key figures in Crisis of Infinite Earths were Supergirl and Flash.
They both died.
It would be
And that-
it'd be
yeah.
interesting.
Spoilers.
I wish
It's spoilers from 25 years ago.
right? I do. It would be interesting if there would be a way that they could get chummy enough to integrate Supergirl into that universe, because I
Yeah.
feel at this point pretty confident saying that Batman exists in the Arrow universe, because Harley
Yeah.
Quinn exists
Right.
and Oracle exists
Yep.
and Batman's around. But
Talia
clearly-
exists.
yeah,
Did.
clearly, but those other ones actually tie into Batman having to exist. Talia could exist without Batman. Harley
Right.
Quinn probably wouldn't, and Oracle definitely wouldn't.
Well, actually, here's something. Having Talia be that young in 1960.
Yeah, she'd be in prime age in the 90s. Maybe Batman was around
Right?
in the 90s.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, what if they're positioning, if they ever decide to go with a TV Batman, they're positioning Batman age range wise to be about 10 to 20 years older than Ollie.
That'd be
Which
great.
would actually make him the Ben Affleck age right now.
100%.
Yeah. But it's interesting. So Batman probably exists in this universe, but with this interaction, Superman couldn't exist in the Flash Arrow universe, right?
No. Superman can't exist in that universe.
So I actually would love them to have a Crisis of Infinite Earths that make Supergirl part of that universe, just so Superman could be.
That'd be really, really cool.
But then you have to cast him.
But I like this tweet. Actually, they brought it up. Michael Maurer wrote, they're both from different worlds, but no knowledge of each other's cities. But yet both of them have Opal City. They brought up that Central City is in both of their
I thought
worlds.
Flash knew about National City. Like, he wasn't weirded out by National City.
I don't remember that.
He
I
wasn't
remember,
weirded out by
yeah.
National City.
They mentioned Gotham on.
And they also
Arrow, right?
mentioned that there's no Star Labs.
There's no Star Labs, but Central City exists.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find Cisco.
He couldn't find Cisco
himself,
or yeah.
But we got Cadmus, so we could maybe have Superboy.
You could. I actually, if Supergirl gets a season 2, I think we will see Superboy.
The other thing is they've been dropping Club Apocalypse a lot, which ties into Grant Morrison's work with the New Gods, which I would kill to see the New Gods on Supergirl.
That would be really cool.
Maybe the Forever People.
Hey, we already had them on Smallville.
We already-
with
hey,
Darkseid
man.
was on Smallville.
We already know there's a Legion of Superheroes ring that showed up on Flash.
I would love to see the Legion of Superheroes in Supergirl.
We know that's got to be an eventual show that they're gonna do.
Well, Supergirl was a member of the Legion of Superheroes, so
Yeah.
you know there's
She had a thing with Brainiac 5.
Yes, there's gonna be something. There's gonna be something where she hops. Also, Brainiac has been name dropped in this show a couple of times.
I'm thinking.
God damn it, do I want Brainiac? I want Brainiac so bad.
I'm not going to
taste
say
it.
I'm thinking. I'm
We
going to
had
say
him
I'm
on
hoping
Smallville.
that Indigo becomes a more primary antagonist in season 2, leading to Brainiac being the big bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would like. That's
Way
what I
into
want.
that.
Please get rid of the Kryptonians because it doesn't
Guys,
make
Dave
sense.
the Raid
They're
says
hiding.
he could
How-
just be hiding.
The Kryptonians are the most evenly paced dudes when it comes to their plans. Be like, should
Yeah.
we do this evil plan this week? No, we can wait till next week.
Next week.
There you go.
Yeah, even though
Good, our
there's
evil plan is finally
Go
ready.
watch
even
more
though,
OC.
Let's
even
go.
though one angry Supergirl brought a city to her knees, and there's like 5 of us, and only 2 other Kryptonians. Screw it, we can wait. Yeah, it's just wonky. It's for
And
me.
it's
You
like
said
why isn't Superman more concerned about all these fucking Kryptonians?
because they don't need to let him know he's busy.
He's busy.
He's more concerned with Martha.
For me, this was probably my second favorite episode after the Red Kryptonite episode, and probably just above the
just
pilot.
above the White Martian episode.
Oh, that's
Wait.
right. The White Martian episode
the-
is so good too.
Download. Grubber. There is going to be a crossover with the Flash and Gotham. Fuck no,
No.
there is
No,
not
there's
gonna
not.
be.
be.
Fools.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good one. You got us.
You win.
Fools.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Imagine.
Barry travels back in time and hangs out with a kid
With
Bruce.
baby Bruce.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
why?
If you guys
Have
like,
you ever thought about a bat?
Yeah, just throwing it out there.
I'm just gonna say it again. If you like ridiculous bullshit, Gotham it's not good ever, but at least it is now ridiculously entertaining.
I
He
love
has
the
a
way
horrible pitch.
I love.
Okay.
I can't recommend it as a good show, but it's so much more fun to watch now than it has ever been.
I would say with Barry, as bad as he is with time travel, if we went on Gotham, he'd be like, "Oh, Bruce, you know what? I shouldn't tell you anything, but you're Batman." That's a way. Why you weren't supposed to do that? Was you decided
Cut
ahead
to a
of time?
close up and inside his head, he's like, "Don't tell him he's Batman. Don't tell him he's Batman. Don't. Oh, you're Batman."
You're Batman.
Damn it!
Just like that we did on this episode,
Damn it.
because he sees the flashback to the ear thing, and you can see in his mind, it's like, I wasn't supposed to do anything, but have him take out his ear stuff for no reason.
It's like
Yeah.
Barry, God,
They're like,
damn
"Barry,
it."
But don't worry, it completely worked out. Oh, Brendan Highmore says Power Girl. I'd actually be cool to see Power Girl in either Supergirl or maybe in the other.
Would you cast a different actress as Power
No,
Girl?
because Melissa Benoist is the best part of that show.
Okay.
She's so good. She even when the show is not good, she makes it better.
Interesting.
In my opinion, I think she's.
No,
she-
I agree.
Her,
She is great.
her and Cat Grant, close to Flockhart,
yeah.
are the MVPs of that show.
Yeah, 100%.
With the runner-up being the special effects on Martian Manhunter because he looks so good every time.
yeah.
He does.
Out of 10 crossover.
Give it a little 8. I'll give it an 8. I overall, it was a little underwhelming, just a little, because you want Flash to do a little bit more when it's a Flash Supergirl crossover. But it's still fun.
Yep. 8 only knocked down because of the villains.
I would give it a 9. I really liked this episode. Thought it could be better though. Thought better villains. More Flash could have helped save the day.
Totally.
But I agree with you. One of the best episodes of Supergirl.
Yeah,
easily.
I'm gonna hedge and say 8.5. I personally I like it when ordinary people save the day, but you don't do it on a crossover episode.
No.
Because it makes it completely pointless. A lot of people saying 9s and 10s, 7.5s, 5, 7. Cool. DJ, you want to do a nice pull list?
I would love to.
All
right.
Thank you so much.
So, comics you should be looking out for next week over on DC Land. They're doing Justice League Darkseid War one shot, which looks like it's going to be delving into Grail more and what her deal is. Also, Batgirl number 50. DC's rolling out a lot of its 50s. This is a big issue for Batgirl. Black Canary shows back up. I love the new Black Canary rock band Black Canary.
Did you guys know that?
Also, in the indie world, Image Comics is releasing a new crime comic called Fix, the first issue, and its pitch is so endearing to me. It was at the end of its little like what the issue's about is like if you love crime epics like the comic Criminal or 100 Bullets, we're going to apologize in advance. It's like that's so endearing to me that I'll give you a shot.
All right.
Also, Mark Millar's releasing a new not self-published, it's under Marvel's banner, but a new comic of his with Stuart Immonen on art called Empress. And if you love big sci-fi epics, you might want to check that out. And also Marvel, first issue of Black Panther, written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Really excited about that. And also the second issue of Black Widow, and Black Widow, the first issue by is so good with Mark Waid and Chris Samney.
Yeah.
So good.
So good.
So
Hell
fantastic. What are you reading?
Oh wow!
If I may ask
Put me on
you.
that. You
I'm
know,
sorry.
you know what I'm loving
I
right
should've let
now
you know ahead of
that
time.
that is crazy, and I love it. Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I'm reading that too.
Seeing the Turtles talk to Batman and convincing
pizza.
Batman why pizza is good is a scene that I never thought I'd ever see, and it's great.
Shredder
That's
teamed up
amazing.
with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, Ra's al Ghul.
You've got to be kidding.
It's just like the Supergirl Flash crossover. It's silly, cheesy at some points, but it's so fun you don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so.
I'm
Casey
just
Jones?
imagining like a page where it's just like framed. Batman looks at pizza. Batman, you see pizza getting lifted. Pizza taking a bite in mouth, chewing, and then just a close up on his mouth, and it's just like growing a little smile.
Alfred actually gets a line where he's just like, "You can clean the grease off your body armor."
So Batman eats pizza in the comic?
Batman
with
eats
with
pizza.
the Ninja Turtles.
With the Ninja Turtles.
Done. I'm sold.
Gonna buy it all. Really quick, what are you guys' thoughts on Rebirth? DC's Rebirth. You guys excited for any of the titles that are coming out? Anyone's grabbing your attention?
I'm curious to hear you guys thought because I was there at the Rebirth.
nice.
event.
Right.
I want to hear what you guys think.
I'm excited for a lot of the things. I don't get what's happening to where's the new 52 Superman going? With all the titles, it seems. I mean, I'm going to read them and figure out what's happening, but he seems to
Maybe
have
he's merging.
disappeared.
Maybe he's merging.
There's
You never know.
you never know. You know.
I am more excited. I am very excited about Rebirth because of the creators involved. One of the things Marvel did with its last Marvel Now, it's like, it doesn't matter what creators we get, you're going to buy this shit anyway. And DC's bringing in like Greg Rucka back on Wonder Woman, Tomasi on Superman. I'm excited for it.
A friend of the show, actually, Sam Humphries, is working on Green Lanterns with Simon Baz
Very cool.
Yes.
and
Jessica
Jessica Cruz. She's
Cruz,
finally
yeah.
getting a real Green Lantern
And
ring.
I'm
so-
excited about that, and I'm also excited for Simon Baz going back in the comics because he's my second favorite Green Lantern behind Kyle Rayner.
Yeah, he's going to be. He
Kyle
will
Rayner, my
be.
favorite.
Yeah, well, because we were kids in the 90s.
Yeah,
so
oh,
of
yeah, oh,
course.
yeah.
Yeah, Kyle Rayner's the best.
He will be our Justice League Green Lantern dude. Simon Baz will be now.
Yeah.
I'm real excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it for the simple reason when they made the announcements. This is the first time in my lifetime that I want to buy all the Batman, the two Batman titles, the two Superman titles, and Wonder Woman. This is the first time I want to buy every title of the Trinity because Greg Rucka is going to kill it. Peter Tomasi and with Patrick Gleason on Superman is that is amazing.
So
and
exciting.
then Tom King, former CIA agent, writing Batman.
That's really
it's
He's
going to bring a
doing
different perspective.
Sheriff of Babylon,
Sheriff
too,
of,
right?
Oh yeah, that's another thing. By the way, that's another comic I forgot to mention. Sheriff of Babylon by Vertigo. Tom King. It's about the 2004 Iraq War. It's one of the best comic books out there that everybody needs to read.
It's killer. It's crazy intense.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on the
you, guys.
show,
Thank
as
you.
always. Where can the people find you? Anything you got going on?
Every weekday you can find me on the DC Entertainment YouTube channel, DC All Access, with me and Tiffany Smith talking about all this stuff. I do stuff on my own YouTube channel where I do a Legends recap show and a Supergirl recap show. YouTube.com/Jawin, Jawin. And then one of the best parts of my week is I do a podcast called Geek History Lesson. Comes out on iTunes, and that's where we teach you about all the nerdy characters. Like this week we delved into the Golden Age Batman, and next week I teach a lesson on the Golden Age Superman. I learned a lot of things. Clark Kent, by the way, favorite thing he used to collect? Clocks.
Interesting.
That seems
Interesting.
about right.
It's been kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
He doesn't collect clocks anymore.
My go-tos for the Golden Age Batman with the 2 guns.
Yep.
And Golden Age Superman used to throw landlords off the top of buildings.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
You know, back in the day.
slumlord.
Yeah, it was slumlords. I shouldn't say
I learned
landlord,
about a
slumlord.
story where very apropos for Man of Steel. He was concerned about all the people that lived in this apartment building, and they were like, "Our building sucks." And he's like, "What can I do?" And he's like, "Get out of the building!" And they all ran out of the building. He destroyed the building, fought the army. And then the people in the city were like, well, I guess we'll rebuild that building. And then a year later, all the people got to go back to a new building. What they did for the year, I don't know.
They built the building. They
But
worked on
see,
the
Golden
building.
Age Superman was like, I helped you, citizens.
Golden Age Superman is terrifying.
So
He's
maybe-
basically Bizarro now.
So
Yes.
maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
so maybe Zack Snyder's Superman is closer than we thought. Everybody.
Yeah.
Good job, Zack
It's
Snyder.
inspired by the source material, guys.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
Very cool.
But thank you for having me on. I
Of
love
course,
coming on the
dude.
show.
I'm
Always
glad.
a
Yeah.
pleasure to have you. Yeah. Sam, anything you want to plug?
I got a couple things coming out on my personal channel. Just search Sam Basher on Google. You can find me everywhere on there.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
Pretty simple.
DJ.
At DJ Talks Trash on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You're welcome.
Okay. And Nuclear Families sketch channel we do here, sketch comedy channel, and 2 sketches that I wrote are out this week that I'm really, really proud of that I really hope you check out.
Your police unboxing video was fantastic.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we did a murder evidence unboxing video
Yeah. It was a lot
that I
of fun.
star in.
That sounds hilarious.
Thank you.
Somebody-
It's really, really cool. I hope you check that out.
Somebody else on this couch might make a cameo in briefly.
Oh, yeah. He's in that one. DJ's in it.
You're the criminal.
You know what? No spoilers.
No spoilers. But also, we did our very first prank video. It's for April Fools. I'm not going to say much, but I'm really proud of it. It's really fucking weird. Please check him out. And Matt Lieberman on Twitter. All
Very
right.
cool.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. Always 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you live. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.